You know exactly what I'm talking about. The moment you step onto a Disney water ride, that mysterious, musty scent hits you. It's equal parts nostalgia, adventure, and disinfectant. After exploring Disney parks for years, logging hundreds of rides and a few soaked shoes, I've become that friend who gets asked all the weird questions. Like why Pirates of the Caribbean smells like a flooded basement. Actually, today, we're diving deep into a favorite Disney mystery. Why did Disney World's water rides smell so strange? I'll share the science behind that distinctive aroma, reveal some surprising history, and give you insider tips that can make or break your next boat ride. We'll cover 8 quick topics, starting with the biggest myth and ending with a trick that can either keep the smell clinging to your clothes or make it vanish entirely. Miss even one of these and you might quietly ruin the nostalgia you didn't even know you were chasing. Ready to turn those "ew, what is that" moments into "aha" memories? Let's set sail. 1. The memory magic of smell. Before we break down the actual chemicals and corners that create that signature Disney water smell, it helps to understand why scent matters so much. Neuroscientists have shown that smell goes straight to the parts of your brain responsible for emotions and memory, specifically the amygdala and hippocampus. Because we have hundreds of different smell receptors, our brains can form incredibly specific memory patterns tied to scents. If I may nerd out for a moment, okay, I already started, but this biological link is known as the Proustian phenomenon, where a scent acts as a physical key to time travel. Unlike sight or sound, which are processed through the thalamus, smell bypasses this filter. This direct line creates an autobiographical anchor, fusing the chemical signature of the water to your specific emotional state. That means a whiff of bromine-treated water or burning wood can send you back to your childhood trip on It's a Small World faster than any photograph. Disney knows this, and it uses it deliberately. Blog analyses of the company's smellitizer technology explain how Imagineers position scented substances near fans or pressurized air so the smell is blown toward guests at exactly the right moment. From vanilla on Main Street to the slow-burning wood inside Spaceship Earth, these engineered aromas deepen immersion and lock memories in place. That's why the water ride's smell is not an accident, it's a feature. Let your nose guide you. If you're traveling with kids, ask them what they notice when you board a boat. Often they'll pick up on scents you've tuned out, and naming the smell helps the memory stick. Try this the next time you float past a singing pirate. You'll smile when they mention it years later. 2. Bromine versus chlorine, the real culprit. The biggest misconception I hear from first-timers is that Disney water rides reek because the water is dirty. Nope, the smell comes from the chemicals used to keep the water clean. Public pools typically use chlorine, which produces that familiar, sharp pool smell. Disney does something different. According to multiple pool maintenance guides, bromine stays effective at higher temperatures, retains its sanitizing power longer, and has a milder odor than chlorine. That makes it ideal for indoor pools and spas, where outdoor control matters. Disney confirmed this practice in an official planning response. The company's water parks, Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon, and water-based rides such as Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Frozen Ever After use bromine instead of chlorine. It's the same for most Disney resort pools. The chemical keeps bacteria at bay, but doesn't give off that harsh pool smell, so the odor you're noticing is bromine working overtime. Bromine's advantages come at a price. Pool manuals note that bromine is more expensive than chlorine but lasts longer. However, bromine is also gentler on the skin and eyes and produces fewer irritants. Since it remains stable in warm water and across a wider pH range, Disney can sanitize large bodies of water without constantly tweaking chemical levels. That stability is crucial when you have hundreds of guests splashing around every hour. So next time someone jokes that Pirates of the Caribbean smells like pirate sweat, you can confidently channel your inner geek and reply, "Actually, it's bromine, and it's there to keep us safe." If you have sensitive skin or a chlorine allergy, you might have avoided water rides at other parks. Good news, bromine is generally easier on the skin. Still, everyone reacts differently. Consider wearing quick-drying clothing and rinse off after rides. Pack an extra shirt in your park bag and use the single-stall restrooms near the ride exit to change. Another hack the locals swear by. 3. Beyond bromine, mildew, fog, and the unofficial ingredients. While bromine does most of the olfactory heavy lifting, it's not the only contributor. Fodor's deep dive into the Pirates of the Caribbean scent points out that mildew from constant dampness also plays a role. The ride's show building is dark and humid, the perfect environment for musty aromas. Imagineers fight mildew with ventilation and cleaning, but the smell still seeps into the woodwork. That slight earthiness is part of what makes the Pirates' queue feel like a real underground grotto. Another subtle ingredient is fog. Special effects use dry ice or fog machines to create atmosphere. In the Pirates' ride sections with cannon fire or ghostly scenes, pump in fog that, according to perfume creators and ride fanatics, has a synthetic smell reminiscent of theatrical smoke. Fog machines often use glycol-based fluids, which can leave a sweet, almost plastic-like scent lingering in the air. When combined with bromine-treated water, you get an aroma that's hard to find anywhere else. Finally, there's pyrotechnics and burning smells. The same Fodor's article jokes about guests attributing the smell to the Blue Bayou restaurant, but ultimately concludes that the main odor is bromine. However, in scenes where pirates set a town ablaze or fire cannons, Disney may use scent machines to pump in hints of gunpowder and burning wood. Blog posts on Disney smellitizers notes that scents like burning wood are intentionally added to rides like Spaceship Earth and Soarin'. For pirates, the gunpowder you smell when ships exchange cannon fire is likely an artificial scent piped into the air, giving the scene an authentic bite. If you're sensitive to musty environments, avoid sitting near the front of the boat. Splashes carry more bromine mist there. Bring in a lightweight poncho or scarf lets you shield your clothes during heavy fog scenes. Prefer the scent? Sit up front and lean in. Your clothes will carry a hint of Disney magic for the rest of the day. Now, before we go any further, here's a quick secret. Imagineers call the system that delivers these atmospheric scents a smellitizer. And Disney treats the exact formula as proprietary. Fans are so obsessed with that mystery that people try to recreate the smell at home, sometimes with hilarious results, which we'll get into in a moment. 4. Mythbusting. It's not the Blue Bayou or the restaurant. One persistent myth at Disneyland is that the pirate smell comes from the Blue Bayou restaurant, which sits along the ride's opening scene. Fodor's addresses this directly. Folks online argue that the smell might be food or kitchen chemicals, but the article dismisses this idea, noting that the ride isn't cleaned with chlorine at all, it's cleaned with bromine. Restaurants certainly have their own smells, but they're not responsible for the damp, musty scent in the ride. The same goes for rumors about sewer water or swamp water in Orlando, Florida's Walt Disney World. Disney is meticulous about water treatment. Plan Disney's Q&A site explicitly states that all water-based rides use bromine and sometimes saltwater filtration systems in resort pools. That water is filtered, tested, and monitored, so while it might smell odd, it's far cleaner than the average public splash pad. This chemical choice is a masterstroke of immersion. While chlorine's sharp, clinical sting would instantly pull you out of the 1700s and back into a modern hotel pool, bromine's heavy, damp profile mimics the organic scent of a real sea cave. It's a clean smell that feels authentically dirty. Perfectly suited for a pirate's grotto, right? On one trip, I overheard guests insisting that the smell was just the gumbo from the restaurant. A cast member later quietly told me that the kitchen is sealed off, and cast members sometimes play along with that rumor because it's funny to watch people sniff the air. It's bromine, not jambalaya, okay? Next time you ride Pirates in Disneyland, pay attention to the exact moment you float past the Blue Bayou restaurant and then later in the scene with the burning town. Does the smell change? Leave a comment after this video and let us know what your nose tells you. Okay, time for something unexpected. Remember when I hinted about capturing that smell at home? A niche fragrance company released a perfume called Dark Ride that attempts to bottle bromine-treated water, synthetic fog, and mildew. The reviewer who wore it to work learned quickly that What smells nostalgic in a boat can smell like a damp basement in an office. The takeaway? These scents are engineered for rides, not for everyday use. If you do seek out candles or wax melts inspired by water rides, test them in small doses. And if you want to preserve the ride scent on your clothes, let them air dry in a sealed bag after your splash. 5. Environmental factors. Why each park's water smells different. Believe it or not, the water smell varies between Disneyland in California and Walt Disney World in Florida. Local water composition plays a role. Florida's mineral-rich water interacts with bromine differently than California's. Ride age matters too. Older attractions built with porous materials like wood and concrete have had decades to absorb that musty, old boat scent, while newer rides smell cleaner. The geological makeup of the two regions creates a fundamental flavor difference in the base water. In Florida, the Floridan aquifer provides water naturally high in sulfur and limestone. When this mineral-heavy water is treated with bromine, it creates a denser, more metallic chemical profile than the municipal water used in Anaheim. This isn't about the pipes, it's about the very ground the parks sit upon. Furthermore, the sheer scale of the Florida show buildings acts as a massive scent trap. Orlando's persistent 90% humidity acts as a natural humectant. Yeah, fancy word, right? Physically binding the bromine molecules to the moisture in the air. This allows the scent to hang in the ride's atmosphere with a localized pressure that California's Mediterranean climate simply can't replicate. In the dry Anaheim air, the bromine evaporates and vents away quickly, whereas in Florida, the scent becomes a heavy, tactile part of the ride's physical architecture. Climate and ventilation affect intensity. Florida's humidity can amplify bromine and mildew, whereas California's drier air lets scents dissipate more quickly. Curious fans can even treat rides like a tasting flight. Note subtle differences between parks and seasons, and you'll start noticing how water, materials, and airflow affect the way each ride smells. Not everyone loves the pirate scent. Some guests adore it and buy candles. Others find it headache-inducing. You can control your exposure by choosing where you sit. Front row for more splash, back for less. Dress in a quick, drying fabric, and bring in a poncho or scarf to shield your clothes. If you're on Team Pirate Scent, ride after a rainstorm. Humidity amplifies the aromas. So we've covered the chemistry, the humidity, and the Floridan aquifer's geological footprint. It sounds like an intricate science experiment, right? But here's where the unexpected twist comes into play. That whole chemical cocktail, the bromine, the mildew, the mineral-rich water, is only half the story. Disney Imagineers aren't just sanitizing water, they are weaponizing your nose. That powerful scent you're noticing isn't just an unavoidable side effect of clean water and old wood. It's a key to a secret, deliberate, 50-year-old storytelling tool. Get ready to pull back the curtain on the most guarded secrets of the Imagineering lab. The smell isn't a fluke, it's a feature. 6. Hidden stories and Imagineering secrets. Water ride smells aren't just chemicals, they serve the story. Pirates of the Caribbean was originally conceived as a wax museum before Walt chose boats to give guests a journey. The damp smell sells the illusion of a hidden cove, and Imagineers go to great lengths to preserve it during refurbishments. This preservation is no small feat. During major overhauls, Imagineers must balance modern safety codes with olfactory continuity. If they replace decades-old wood with fiberglass or synthetic composites, they risk losing the natural porous surface that had cured in bromine for 40 years. To combat this, they often digitally map the airflows within the show buildings, ensuring that the unique draftiness of the 1960s design isn't lost to modern sterile HVAC efficiency. They understand that if the air feels too fresh, the illusion of a centuries-old Caribbean grotto collapses instantly. This commitment to smellscaping has evolved into a sophisticated psychological tool. In the early days of the wax museum concept, the goal was simple realism. Today, it is about emotional triggers. Imagineers now layer scents like a musical score. The sharp, metallic tang of the bromine serves as the bass note, while the smoky discharge from the ride's recycled water cannons provides the midtones. Even the ozone generated by the massive electric motors that power the lift hills adds a subtle industrial grit to the atmosphere. These aren't just byproducts of machinery, they are the invisible brushstrokes of a living painting. When you smell that specific blend, your brain isn't just registering chemicals, it's receiving a signal that you've officially left the real world behind. Rumors about future attractions adding beignet or magnolia scents show how essential smell has become to storytelling. And here's a little Easter egg. If you listen carefully near the waterfall before the battle scene on Pirates of the Caribbean, you can hear a faint hiss. That's the fog machine and the smellitizer at work. Spotting these behind-the-scenes touches makes you feel like a seasoned park veteran. 7. Other notable water ride smells. Pirates gets the most attention because its scent is so iconic, but it's not the only ride with a memorable odor. It's a Small World uses the same bromine treatment, yet guests often describe the smell as softer and slightly sweet. That's partly because the attraction is brighter and features lots of fresh air movement, so the bromine doesn't linger as heavily. There's also a subtle hint of mechanical oil from the hundreds of singing dolls and their moving parts, a note that hardcore fans recognize immediately. Over at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the scent evolves as you travel through different scenes. The opening smells crisp and woody, thanks to cypress trees lining the canal. Midway through the ride, as you float past animatronic critters singing in swampy settings, there's a faint earthy smell layered over the bromine. And just before the big drop, Imagineers puff in a whiff of smoke to foreshadow the climatic jump, perhaps a throwback and homage to the ride's previous theming as Splash Mountain. It's a masterclass in storytelling through scent. On the East Coast, Kali River Rapids at Disney's Animal Kingdom tells a story about illegal logging in the Asian rainforest. The ride starts with lush greenery and sprays of water, then takes you past burning trees. To make guests feel the devastation, Disney uses smellitizers that emit a burnt wood scent similar to that used in Spaceship Earth's Rome scene. It's subtle but effective. You can almost taste the smoke as you rush past. Even Frozen Ever After at Epcot, a relatively new attraction, has a distinct aroma. Because the ride is kept cold to simulate Arendelle's eternal winter, the bromine smell is dialed down. Instead, you notice a fresh, almost icy scent, likely a combination of chilled air, fog effects, and a hint of pine. It's not as strong as Pirates, but it fits the theme perfectly. Paying attention to these different ride smells can deepen your appreciation for Disney's storytelling. Try riding several water attractions in one day and compare how each scent makes you feel. Does the woody smell before the big climb on Tiana's Bayou Adventure relax you? Does Kali River Rapids smoke make you uneasy? These emotional cues are deliberate, and once you start noticing them, your trips to the parks take on a whole new dimension. After exploring the chemistry, history, and sensory science behind Disney's water ride smells, one thing is clear: the scent is by design, and it's meant to transport you. It's not simply weird water or old pipes, it's a carefully calibrated mix of bromine sanitation, environmental factors, and Imagineering artistry. The result is a signature smell that triggers memories and emotions more powerfully than any souvenir. Think about how many of us can recall the exact scent of Pirates or Splash Mountain when it was still around, even if we haven't ridden them in years. That's the hippocampus in action. Disney may keep the formula proprietary, but the effect belongs to all of us. So the next time someone wrinkles their nose and asks why the water smells funny, smile knowingly and explain that it's part of the adventure. And part of the magic you'll take home in your heart, and maybe in your clothes. I'm curious, which Disney ride smell hits you the hardest? Is it the oranges in Soarin', the burning Rome in Spaceship Earth, or that unmistakable bromine musk in Pirates? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one and love hearing how different scents bring back different memories. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, share this episode with a fellow Disney fan, and subscribe for more insider secrets. Trust me, we have some wild stories coming up. And if you're craving another adventure, check out the video on the screen now. It's mind-blowing. Your adventure is just beginning.